You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 203 of the Soulforge podcast. It's another walk and talk edition.
Welcome to the Soulforge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soulforge.
Hey gang, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. I've picked a day where the wind is not too bad, and I'm using a different microphone than the last time, so I'm hoping the sound quality is amazing. Obviously, I'll try to fix it as much as I can in post-production, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the wind holds off quite a bit. It comes and it goes. You know, it's the weather, it's outside, it's what happens. Alright, so what are we talking about this week? Well, as you can tell by the title, we're mostly talking about getting your driver's license, but I got other stuff to talk about as well. Okay, so, update from last week where I talked about my new business plan and how I've wanted to have a store for about 30 years. Well, went and saw the mortgage lady at the bank, and good news is I qualify for the mortgage. So that's great news. However, the bad part is that it depends on how the business building thing is zoned. And it's hard to say because it's an apartment with a storefront, and on the realtor.ca website, it's under the commercial listings, but under the category of what kind of place it is, it says multifamily. So the realtor right now is looking into whether or not it's zoned commercial or residential. If it's residential, I only have to put 5% down. If it's commercial, I have to put down 20 to 35%. And what that means is that that's well over $40,000, which I don't have access to because that's a lot of money. So, am I going to open this business? Only if it's considered residential zoning, and then I can afford the 5% down payment. So, I'm just waiting on the realtor to find out that information, and then we can go from there. So that's what's happening. I do have a business associate, a business partner. I'm not sure yet. It all depends on what we arrange, but I've got a guy who's going to help. And if you out there in podcast land just happen to have an extra $40,000 to fund my business, that would be amazing. And you could either email it to me, soulforgepodcast@gmail.com, or you could donate to the coffee account where all the donations go, and that's ko-fi.com/rustedsoul. Obviously, I don't expect anybody to give me 40 grand, unless there's an angel investor out there who sees a good deal when he sees it, and we'll see. So what else are we talking about? Well, had a network meeting for the ESO podcast network the other day, and what we've recently done, or they've done, I guess, the board members have created a new promo we have to play about getting your COVID vaccine. So I'm going to play that right here.
Welcome to Dr. Geek's Laboratory.
Hello everyone, Dr. Geek here with a shout out to all the scientists who worked tirelessly to bring a COVID-19 vaccine into reality. Let's face it, creating something of this magnitude is a miracle worthy of Dr. McCoy himself. And now, Dr. Geek needs you to do your part. Remember, each shot is one small step back to normal, one giant leap to putting the pandemic behind us. We can do this. For more information, visit vaccines.gov to find your nearest provider.
And and I'll put that in once I've edited the podcast. Obviously, I'm out walking. I'm nowhere near a computer. I'm just using my phone to record this. I haven't even heard the promo yet, so hopefully it's awesome, and we'll just have to see. And I was waiting to get my vaccine myself. I didn't really trust it. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to turn into a mutant or not, and mostly there's the 0 point whatever it is, 1% that get blood clots with some of those vaccines. I haven't heard of anybody growing a tail or turning invisible or anything, which would be super cool. But Julie and I are getting our first shots of the vaccine on Thursday. I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 19th of May, so tomorrow when this comes out, I'll be getting the vaccine that afternoon. So if there's no episode next week, it's because I got a blood clot and died. But if there is an episode next week, well, let's just hope that there is, because I have a business to run and open and all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll see what happens. So what else do we have to talk about? Well, it's really freaking hot today, and the sun is beating down, and there's never enough water to carry because it's just too hot. So let's talk about getting our driver's license. And I thought it would be a fun idea to talk about getting a driver's license while I'm walking, because if you don't have your driver's license, you're going to be doing a lot of walking, taking the bus, riding the bike, borrowing or stealing a ride from friends and family and strangers and taxi cabs and all that kind of good stuff. So what do I want to talk about getting your driver's license for? Well, my boy is 15 and a half, and it's almost time to teach him how to get his license. So I thought it was a perfect time to talk about it. I'm just taking all the mail out of this bag right now, so bear with me for a moment or two, because there's a lot of mail today, because what I'm doing is delivering census reminder cards, because people who didn't fill out the census when I sent out those first cards a week and a half ago, well, now I have to send out the reminder cards because people suck and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So anyway, that's my day. Okay, so everything's out of this mailbag. I'm going to continue walking and talking. And before we get into the whole driver's license thing, we should probably play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO network. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm sure it's fantastic. So here you go.
Look, we gotta talk.
Yeah, Thunder Talk.
We're going all kinds of sideways with that sweet nerd junk.
Woke nerd junk.
It's topical.
Political.
Dare I say radical.
We've got all your latest news and reviews.
Hot music.
And a whole lot of comedy.
But it ain't for kids.
Definitely mature content.
So let's talk.
Let's talk Thunder Talk.
Thunder Talk is a proud member of the ESO network.
Was that awesome? I sure hope it was. I have no idea, because like I said, I'm at work outside in the field, walking and talking to you guys and girls and children out in podcast land. So there you go. Anyway, back to getting your driver's license. It's important to get your driver's license. For some reason here in Timmins, a lot of people, they just don't bother. They don't get their driver's license. In fact, Bishop's mom, Trish, who you've heard on previous episodes of the podcast, oh, here comes the wind now. Of course it does, right? Because why not? So anyway, hang on a second. People are coming, so I'm not going to talk. Good day. They didn't answer back. How rude. That's fine. So Trish didn't get her license until she was 40 years old. I know other people who don't have their license as well, but mostly that's because they've either had traumatic experiences or their eyesight is bad or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's always a possibility. So we'll forget about those people and give them some leniency. But for the most part, get your friggin' driver's license. It gives you so much freedom. I'm going to talk about my experience growing up. Let's see. I turned 16 in September of 1992, and I went to driver's school. Was that 6 or 8 weeks? I can't remember how long it was. It was like $400 or something. I don't remember. I didn't pay for it. So I did all the driver training, and then I went for my driver's license, and I did a lot of practice driving. My grandfather took me. He was in his mid-60s, and his driving skills were scary. I always felt like I was going to die because he didn't come to complete stops, and I don't think he always paid attention. Or maybe he was just trying to be cool because he was teaching his grandson how to drive. I'm not sure. He's not around to ask him, so I can't. But, so I learned to drive. I did the driving tests, or the course, and then I went for my first driving test. And it was the winter time, and they failed me because I went too fast for the conditions. Okay, so that's great. And then I went for a second test, and they failed me because I was going too slow, because that time I was being cautious. So I just couldn't win. But I did get it on the third time, because the third time is the charm, right? Yeah, of course it is. So that was all fine. But I did so much practice driving that I couldn't wait to get my license so that I didn't have to drive anymore, because I thought it would be fun and full of freedom and stuff, and of course not. It was a lot of hard work, and different people have different driving styles, so that wasn't the greatest. And hello. More people not saying hello. That's great. So much for being the friendly mailman. Fuck those guys. So anyway, yeah. So now, a few years ago, I taught my niece Faith how to do parallel park, and that was fine. Let's see what else. All my brothers have their licenses. We've all got our licenses, but for the most part, people in this town do not get their license until way late. And I don't know what that is. I've asked them, and they just don't care. And it seems to me, from what I've heard, the kids nowadays still don't care, because they'd rather just play their games and socialize online, so they don't need a license to go places. But let me tell you, get your frickin' license. It's freedom. It's great. It's just one of those things that make you feel more like an adult. So let me see, this year here, because I got my license, I think it was February 1st, 93, so I've been driving for 28 years. I still can't back up worth a damn. I hate it. And I don't know how to back up a trailer either. So there's a few things I can't do, but I can parallel park. That's not an issue. In, I don't know if it was Canada-wide or just Ontario, but in the early 90s, they were going to bring in the graduated licensing system, which I think is pretty standard now. And that's where you get your, I think it's your G2, and you have that for a while. And then you get your G1 after a year, and there's all kinds of rules and regulations. You can't drive at certain times, you can't drive with people in the car, blah, 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 blah. I don't know all the rules, but I was born at the perfect time where I just squeaked through, and I didn't have to go through that whole graduated licensing crap. Same as high school. Now the kids have to do 40 hours of community service in order to graduate. That wasn't a thing when I was a kid. So I think being born in 1976 was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. Is that true? I don't know. It would have been better if I was born rich, or famous, or good looking, or with lots of sexual prowess. I don't know. Anyway, 76. What a great year. So I thought I had a whole pile of stuff I wanted to talk about in regards to getting a driver's license, but because I'm walking and talking, of course my memory has slipped, and I didn't write anything down to carry with me. But I know as I was 14, 15, 16 years old, man, did I ever want a car. There was a car dealership not too far from the apartment complex we lived at called Dick's Garage, and they had all kinds of stuff. They had Volvos and older cars. There was this one old car. It was a 4-door white car. I don't know what kind it was anymore, but I obsessed over it, and I would look at it and think about it and dream about it. And of course, I never got it. But that's beside the point. And then there was another old car. It was Robin's Egg Blue, and I can't remember if it was for sale or I just saw it around town a lot. But I wanted that so badly too. And of course, I didn't get that because I was poor and young. So there was that. And when I was about 30, I decided that by the time I was 40, I was going to get an El Camino because I've always been obsessed with having an El Camino. When I was 34, I bought a 1974 Volkswagen Beetle because that was not an El Camino, but it was at least a classic automobile. But it needed a lot of work, and I didn't know how to fix it. And of course, once again, I didn't have any money to do that. So after about 8 years, I sold it without ever having worked on it. And one thing I've realized is that I shouldn't have nice things because I don't have the skills to take care of them. So that's another thing to keep in mind, gang. You may want something, but just because you want a thing doesn't mean you should have a thing, especially if you don't have the skills to take care of it. So there's that. What else did I want to talk about? Let's see. Oh, we need to do new promos for the ESO network. They have to be in by July because every 6 months or so we have to refresh them and put out new ones. Have to be 30 seconds long. So if any of you out there in podcast land want to do a 30-second promo to convince listeners to listen to the SoulForge podcast, you could do that. Send it to me, soulforgepodcast@gmail.com, and that would be amazing. I love audience participation and feedback, as you know, and if I don't have to do a promo, that's even better for me, and it will give some of you guys out there a chance to work on your editing skills or whatever, or just something fun to do in your spare time. So I need that within about a month or so, and yeah, that would be highly appreciated. What else can I tell you guys? Well, they're always trying to promote the ESO Patreon. So if you have some spare money and you don't want to give me 40 grand for my business, then you could always donate, I think it's 25 cents a month to the ESO Patreon, and you get exclusive content, guys and girls out there. Things that regular people don't have access to. So I'm going to play the promo for the ESO right now.
Everyone these days could use a little support, and your friends at the ESO Network are no different. With the ESO Network Patreon, the cool thing is when you help support us, it's you who will benefit. With 4 tiers starting for as little as 25 cents a week, you can listen to some of your favorite network podcasts early, hear exclusive content, maybe get some ESO swag, or even possibly take a shot at the geek seat. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/ESO Network.
There you go. Nice Patreon promo. If you have an extra quarter a week, there you go. All the extra content you could handle. What else did I want to mention? There's got to be other things. Let's see. Basically, get your driver's license. Don't wait. I'm this close to opening up my toy store / antique shop with a coffee bar in it and 3D printer services. I just have to hope that the building is zoned residential instead of commercial, because if it's commercial, I can't afford it unless there's a sudden infusion of cash. But of course, I'm going to win the hospital lottery draw this month, and then that'll be all the money I need, and then I won't need a mortgage. So just putting it out there to the universe that, hey, universe, give me the lottery win this month so I can buy that building and have an awesome store here in town. Thanks. All right, is that a prayer? Is that hope? I don't know what that is. We'll see what happens in a week or so when they do the draw. What else did I want to talk to you guys about? Maybe that's it. Have you left a review in the Apple Podcast Store or the podcatcher of your choice? Leave me a 5-star review so other people can find the podcast and listen to it just like you do. I know you're cool because you're an early adopter of the podcast, but it's been out for almost 4 years and I could really use some more audience, so that would be helpful. What else did I want to talk about? That just might be it. I'm not 100% sure. I'll probably think of a million things as soon as I end this recording, of course, because that's the way it always works, right? You can never think of things in the moment. But let's see, I'm going to go through my photo roll and see if I have a cool quote for the end. Let's see. Yeah, I do, actually. And if you haven't joined the Facebook page for SoulForge, you should, because I share a lot of quotes and memes and news and things over there. So thanks for listening to my walk and talk ramble. Make sure you listen to the Cosmic Pizza podcast, which comes out every Wednesday, also on the ESO network. Take care, and remember, everything comes to you in the right moment. Be patient, be grateful. Thank you for listening to another episode of the SoulForge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The SoulForge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.